then, now then, crypto lovers, welcome to Crypto Chat UK. Want to go through some articles today from CCN. One is something that Jeff Schumacher has mentioned about Bitcoin going to zero, and also on CCN, another article basically to rebuke what he's saying. 10 reasons why Bitcoin won't go to zero, okay? So we're going to talk about that, a couple of little things. We'll have a quick look at the market briefly. Yes, we are all in green, some small growth here and there. Bitcoin currently on $3,600, and I think it's still, yeah, it's on about 120 billion. I think it went up to about 122 billion market cap. Bitcoin dominance around 52 still, 52%. I do like that. I am really into Bitcoin, obviously. That is my main coin to accumulate. Not to say I don't accumulate some others. Just quickly, my top $500 coins are basically almost the top 5. There is some others I'm into, but I would certainly say the top 5. So, for example, XRP for sure. You all know that I'm crazy about XRP, particularly with all the development, everything that goes on with XRP, and I think that's got a bright future. Of course, Stellar Lumens, you all know that I'm into that as well. Bought that at a good price. That will be making some good growth as far as I'm concerned. Don't forget, not a financial advisor, so if you are looking at these, definitely take a look yourself. Have some good research on it, get your due diligence done, and then decide whether you want to go in. But these are kind of my top $500 here. Stellar, obviously, I've just said. Tron, that's another one. Cardano, and I would say IOTA as well, but just to add, I think there's one here, if you have a look. Zilliqa, I think that's kind of a good punch still. I bought that probably a bit higher. I bought that at 12 cents. So, not ideal because it's gone down to 2 cents. But I think that if they do what they say they're going to do, the future in many years to come will be bright for that as well. There is others, but like Basic Attention Coin at 12 cents, really confident in that. Wasn't when I first got into Basic Attention Coin, but now I've seen some more development. I'm kind of thinking, yeah, the team behind that's pretty good. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And I'll probably go through some of that in another article another time. But I want to talk about this Jeff Schumacher, okay? Quickly look at this. Bitcoin price will tank to zero, claims investment firm chief. Now, heated debates are warming up the icy snow-capped city of Davos during this year's World Economic Forum. BOE senior advisor yesterday said that cryptocurrencies were worthless. Today, BCG Digital Ventures founder Jeff Schumacher said Bitcoin price will fall to zero. You know my thoughts on this. I've already done my research on this when it comes to Bitcoin and stuff. I mean, it's just a ridiculous thing to say, I think. You know, you never know, it might be proven wrong, but I can't see it at all. I mean, it's a bit of a joke to me. And if you look, there's some more articles about it, what people said about it. He was at some kind of event, and they were debating it and talking about it. And he said, I do believe it will go to zero. I think it's a great technology, but I don't believe it's currency. It's not based on anything. If you want to have a look at that article, that's on CCN. I won't read it all, okay? But there's basically all sorts. Talking about blockchains, how he's more into blockchains, and blockchain adoption in 3 to 5 years, etc., etc. You know, there's a lot more in there. But anyway, have a look at that article if you want. You can get some more details on it. But basically, he is saying, and this is what he believes it'll go to zero. Now, this article from CCN as well says 10 reasons Bitcoin won't ever go to zero. Now, I could definitely add to this as well, but if we go through this article, so it says, I do believe it will go to zero. I think it's great technology, but I don't believe it's a currency. It's not based on anything, said Jeff Schumacher. Now, if you could compare that to your currencies, your fiat currencies like your dollar and your Great British Pound and so forth, well, it's got a lot more. It's based on a lot more than they are. If you only got to educate yourself a little bit, and you'll realize that actually Bitcoin is based on a lot more and much better things than our current currencies that we're using. So to say this, well, I'm sure he's educated well enough, but it seems very, very silly. Very silly thing to say. So, Bitcoin is actually based on a lot of things. To name just some, it's based on the largest deployment of public key cryptocurrency in history by civilians to secure the network of a deadly clever system architecture for creating the world's first open source, decentralized, peer-to-peer bank with no need to trust a banking institution. They're just some of the things why Bitcoin wouldn't end up at zero. They're just some small things. Now, I'd say they're small things, but they are huge as far as change is concerned, and huge as far as finances and money and store of value is concerned. Massive. They are massive. You ever want to look at that? Look at those points individually. Yeah, open source, decentralized, peer-to-peer. There's a lot more you'll see down this article. The US dollar really isn't based on anything. This is what I was just saying, actually. It's so gratifying for the most devastating critic of America's socialist central banking system, the Federal Reserve, to hear all these mainstream media claim that Bitcoin isn't a real currency by listing off reasons that are also characteristics of the Fed. So some of the characteristics that they say why Bitcoin isn't a real currency is also what's true about the Fed, or what is actually more true about the Fed. Yeah? So it's crazy. Do you know it's crazy? It's not the blockchain. In the article linked above, you will find a tired trope that what's really exciting isn't Bitcoin, but the underlying technology blockchain. And that's wrong. The blockchain is only one part of the Bitcoin network architecture. You go on for it's which Bitcoin. And besides, if we're going to put the emphasis on the blockchain, then which blockchain is a very relevant question. There is a lot of blockchains out there, as we all know. Some are well worth, well, I think most of them will probably be all worth getting involved in, as long as the team behind them are good and they are developing good. So, corporate employees creating intra-company blockchains to ride the hype train aren't making anything like Bitcoin. Those blockchains are just boring old databases. So, you know, there is a lot of blockchains. There is a lot of development going on out there that's pretty pants. I mean, I'm presuming some of them are just a load of rubbish anyway. I was going to use a more serious word there, but are a load of rubbish anyway. But you can do your research and find out which ones have got the best teams behind, which ones are making the best moves and are being developed in the right way. You know, what they're being used for as well. I mean, there's some really fantastic stuff out there. I can go through that on another article, another video at some point. So this is what I talk about as well sometimes. Not a fad like Beanie Babies or Tulip Mania. What's most interesting about Bitcoin isn't the blockchain, although that is an interesting and important part of how Bitcoin works. What's most interesting about it is that it is a private currency and banking system that offers different product features than those offered by central banks. And they're excellent features. They are excellent features. To be clear, it is my opinion that they are excellent features. But it's a fact that Bitcoin's innovative product features have created the first viable global market of private currency by making Bitcoin a highly valued and sought after commodity. And it's interesting that Bitcoin was able to get away with doing this. The most battle-hardened crypto, okay? So this is Bitcoin. It is the most battle-hardened. Bitcoin has the longest, strongest blockchain, the biggest network. I mean, obviously it was the first one anyway, but it's got the biggest network with the most market capitalization and the most stakeholders in it. They have weathered, managed, and learned from the challenge of being the biggest, most successful cryptocurrency. Gone through some hard times. A lot of people who've been invested later in the day, who perhaps don't understand the technology enough, but have started to learn the technology as time's gone. They've hit the hard times financially. They've seen the drops. They've weathered them storms, you know, just like 2018 to now. We're talking about probably one of the longest periods of Bitcoin, kind of like a bearish movement, which I'm going to go through a little article actually before I go about that. So, you know, a lot of these people, a lot of the investors, a lot of the people who are invested in it are speculated. A lot of the people who are going for it and changing the currency to this new currency and moving forward with it for what its use case is. Or use cases are. They have weathered the storm in it, and it is a successful cryptocurrency. You're talking about 10 years now, and it has shown zero faults. Yep, zero faults. So you're talking about an amazing thing. So if you don't know anything about it, if you don't know much about the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin in particular, get some research done and get it clicked in the head how big this is and how amazing this is. Okay, number 7, proof of work. Critics talk about Bitcoin's electricity usage as if this is a big bug in the system, but it is actually an intentional feature. That cost of electricity usage, time, and the opportunity cost of computation are there by design to create a qualified node to participate in a network that maintains the entire record of a massive public digital ledger of accounts and transactions on each node. Okay, very important. I mean, there is a lot of scaremongering. I've covered that in one article. I think some other YouTubers have as well, including Crypto Daily, has covered some real, you know, kind of real fluff about, real rubbish and lies about how much it does consume as well and how much electric it does need. But you can look at it. There's a lot of data on there about the actual reality of it. But yes, that's a very important part. It is an integral part of it. It's part of what makes it so great, okay? And it's part of the tools used to get the value going up as well. So something digital that can't be duplicated. Now, not a lot of people think about Bitcoin this way or discuss it this way. We do. I think a lot of people do, actually. But one of its very novel, strange, and useful features is that Bitcoin is something digital that one person or computer can have and keep. But it is impossible for them to make a copy of you. You can make a copy of a digital music file and an image, a string of text, but you cannot make a copy of Bitcoin. Now that's the thing. It's irrefutable. You cannot copy it. Yep, it can't be forged. You know, it can't be forged. It can't be copied. So these are some of the things I've already been through, of course, but these are really key points of why it won't go to zero. Deflationary. The fact that Bitcoin can't be duplicated means it's something the Federal Reserve, we talk about the Federal Reserve more, but central bank style, Federal Reserve Open Market Committee can't just go and decide tomorrow to make more of. So we talk about quantitative easing with currencies and stuff like that. Well, you can't do that with this. You can't do that with Bitcoin, okay? That's why the intrinsic value of the US dollar is actually zero, okay? Because of its infinite liquidity, which is not only theoretically correct, but accelerating towards imminently manifest over the last decade of monetary policy as the Fed loosens the spigots to cosmic proportions. You can obviously link to these other articles here and it'll tell you more about that. But Bitcoin isn't a monetary black hole like the fiat currencies of central banks. You know, if you look at research and you look at articles, you can see that fiat currencies are technically destined to fail in the end. They always do. It is worth looking into this and what governmental and policies are about it. But it's pretty much, fiat currency is pretty much a poor thing for being backed by nothing, you know. There is all sorts of problem with fiat currencies, of course there is. There is positives, but mostly, in my opinion, it is very negative. So its intrinsic value is 1, not 0, right? So Bitcoin isn't a monetary black hole like the fiat currency of central banks. Its intrinsic value is 1, not 0. It's 1, unique, inimitable, digital artifact manufactured by an open, public, peer-to-peer, centralized network. Decentralized, don't forget that's seriously important. That cannot be reproduced by anyone. And the last thing is the government can't stop it. So one of the most important reasons why Bitcoin won't go to zero is because the government can't stop it. A number of other attempts to create private currency in the United States have been met with serious federal muscle, including raids on the companies that have tried it, seizures of their property, criminal charge of various financial crimes, and federal prosecution. This control of your money, the finances, and the way they want to control it and the way that they do, you know, it creates a lot of issues, including poverty. It creates divides, and it does cause a lot of issues. There's more to that list. But Bitcoin has survived and thrived because it's a decentralized software, hardware, human machine. There's nowhere to deal it a fatal blow. No leader, no official headquarters. So there is no central location. That's the decentralized aspect of it. Okay. Bitcoin is going to live a long life as a highly valued currency and bank. Will it ever die? I don't think so. You know, but there you go. So that's the article on that. Now, you know, so they're just some of the stuff, and they're not even going into great detail of why Bitcoin won't go to zero. So Jeff Schumacher saying this, well, I think he's way off the mark, and it's a crazy thing to say. And most people at the event that he was at, I can't remember what it was now, you'd have to look through the article, they were all quite shocked, and most of them did not agree with that. And you can't agree with that. Just look at the fundamentals of Bitcoin, and you cannot agree with that. Even for just the pure store of value thing, just similar to gold, that alone is of massive value. So there we go. Okay, and just as a little negative on it, in exactly, well, kind of could be a negative. In exactly 1 week, Bitcoin will have suffered its longest bear market in history. Don't know if I'll read all this article for you, but let's have a look. If the Bitcoin price remains below 16,000, down 20% from its full-time high at 20,000 by February the 2nd, it will have suffered the longest bear market in its 10-year history. In traditional markets, a 20% decline from the all-time high is considered a bear market. Since January 2018, Bitcoin has been in a bear market, unable to recover above key resistance levels and experience a 12-month intense sell-off. What can Bitcoin investors expect? Since November 2018, the Bitcoin price has declined from above $6,000 to mid-$3,000 at its lowest yearly point. The price of Bitcoin dropped by more than 47% within a 2-month period, recording one of its steepest short-term falls in recent years. Now, if we have a look, Josh Rager, a cryptocurrency technical analyst, stated that in 1 week, under the assumption that the price of Bitcoin will remain in a tight range between $3,500 and $4,000, Bitcoin will officially set a new correction record. And he basically puts it here, Bitcoin's correction record on February 2, well, we are likely to break the record for longest Bitcoin correction. 410 days from November 2013 to the price at January 2015. Now that was that last real bearish market where we really had that drop and it stayed for 410 days. very soon you'll be able to say that you survived the longest crypto market correction in Bitcoin history. So yeah, I mean, if you look, currently the longest correction in Bitcoin's history is the 420-day bear market. The asset experience throughout 2013, 2015. In the short term, traders generally see the price trend of Bitcoin weighing to the upside. A cryptocurrency trader with an online alias main suggests that due to the resilience of Bitcoin in the mid $3,000 region, a potential recovery could be in play. Now, I'm not going to read the rest of that, but basically, you know, they talk about the ETF, the problems in the market in the US at the moment, and all sorts of other things having effects, negative and positive. But yes, I mean, let's face it, like I always say, I look at long term. Long term does not mean month, year, etc., stuff like that. It means a long, long time. As things are being implemented, adoption is slow to nothing as in domestically. As in the big players, big business, well, they're developing blockchains. They're adopting all sorts of things. There's lots of fundamental stuff being worked on in the background. And if you look at the tools that are being developed, you can see where the future is. The actual Bitcoin itself has survived 10 years with ease. You know, Bitcoin itself is clearly a big player in the world and is going to be around. So, you know, you just don't have to worry about the short term. Obviously, as I've always said, it's a bit tricky for people who've gone in on a high. They've kind of jumped on, FOMOing. Even I did a couple of purchases at the higher point. But you can ride them out. You can wait your time. Don't panic. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Like the rest of you, you're going to be okay. Don't forget, if I'm wrong and if everybody else is wrong, you can come and laugh at us then. But at the moment, it looks really good, really stable. Now, will Bitcoin go any lower? Potentially. It could go down to $1,000. You don't know. At that point, well, that's great for me because I'm going to buy more then. But keep an eye on the market, see where the bottom is, and let's see what happens over the next 6 months. I've always said 2019 isn't going to be the greatest. Okay, but it could be potential for the springboard either late this year or coming into 2020. I am looking at the moment for kind of the big stuff to occur. I think there'll be a lot of releases and a lot of stuff happening here as in development-wise this year, and I'm really eager to keep an eye on that. But I think for the speculation aspect of it, I'm looking for 2020 to 2022 to see them highs getting higher or the lows getting higher. So I can see us getting really high there. I can see some big growth over the next 2 to 3 years. But let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens. And I will still be here. And hopefully I will be seeing you very soon. So don't forget, guys, if you haven't, please subscribe. And if you do like it, hit the like if you like this video. Hopefully you do. And if you got any comments, anything you want to say, just let us know. Give us a shout. And I will cover anything as soon as we've got the time. But take it easy. And I'll see you soon, guys.